Like what do you see happening at concerts that people do that you wish they would just stop doing altogether?
Showing up. Should just stay home.
Oh.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Last Words right here on The Pit. This week we are joined by AARON Pauley and Valentino Arteaga of Mice and Men. Of Mice and Men. Welcome.
Woo!
Arteaga or Ortega?
Arteaga. Actually, she got it right. That was good.
Woo!
It doesn't happen often.
I just wanted to ask you guys, because something I've been thinking about, because I don't think I'm going to be touring anytime soon. I mean, are you like ready to tour? Is it almost feel, is there some anxiety or hesitancy about you've been living one way and now you have to kind of go back to this other lifestyle?
The only shows we have on the books now are for festivals next summer.
Okay,
so that's like all that's confirmed and released. So yeah, I don't know. We kind of talked about that. We had a meeting, with our team about, hey, when everything opens back up, do you guys want to be, some of the first names that we throw out there? And we were kind of like, well, no, like we're in the process still of finalizing album art and whatnot for our next release. So we're just going to keep working on music. We started doing Twitch like full time. We just recently like partnered up with them to like just create music content and stuff so we can still engage with our fans. But yeah, maybe out of like hesitancy or maybe just not necessarily seeing the necessity for being the first ones out, But we are going to go back out next summer.
Because we take health very seriously in our group and, touring is there's so many moving parts, you know what I mean? And having to get the crew together and everything. And, it wasn't that long ago that everything was shut down and it was dangerous to leave your house. And at the same token, we're not really chomping at the bit to jump out there right away and kind of like be a part of the whirlwind of everybody that's like, no shows for a year and a half. Well, guess what? Every show you ever wanted is now happening. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's sick. But we've really been focused so much on writing music that we've kind of gotten a really good groove. And we were like, in order to like shake things up, in order to like not sure how things are going to go, or our venue is going to be at half capacity. Is there going to be another resurgence of a different variant of the thing? You know what I mean? Like
can you get cancellation insurance?
Yeah. And you can't get cancellation insurance now. They've definitely amended all the contracts and we were like, you know what, dude, it's a little too crazy and a little too like, we just don't know what's going to happen right away. And we would rather keep our fans safe, keep ourselves safe, just keep writing music. And thankfully Twitch stepped in and now we're like a band in a bubble kind of, except we're all in our own little bubbles here at home.
Well, no. Well, what about like, this is to everybody have you guys started going to shows? I went to one show, like real, like at a bar, just everything opened up in LA and it was cool and it was fun. I'm kind of ready, but it's almost like, have you guys has anyone been going to shows?
Nah,
a real show lately?
No, I've gone to the movies and I've gone bowling. That's about as much like high capacity entertainment as I've done recently.
Zeena, Katie, what about you guys?
I'm in Philadelphia and, there's still really not concerts. They're coming back in the fall, but there's still not quite anything coming around, at least nothing that I really want to see. I did go to a rockabilly festival, actually. They put it on every year in Smithville, New Jersey, which is right outside of Atlantic City. So, of course, I went out there this year to support, and they had a whole bunch of rockabilly bands playing, and it was hot. And again, I feel like I would have been, if this was like last summer or 2 summers ago, I'd be like, oh, it's so hot, I'm miserable. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just so happy there's live music.
For sure, I'll bet.
Controversial. I've been out here. I went to actually Red Rocks to go see an artist, which was incredible. And honestly, if you're gonna go to a show with that many people, Red Rocks is the place to go, right?
Oh, it's so sick.
It's outdoors. It's kind of like you can be distanced. They put like distance between each of the tiers. So you felt okay. I haven't been to a small club show yet, but admittedly, I have been to 2 clubs, one in Mexico. So I'm kind of riding the lightning a bit right now, but I've been vaccinated, so I feel a little bit more safe. And
for sure,
I am excited too to go back to shows. I do feel a little apprehension, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys feel about the smaller club shows where you're kind of like body to body. I think of St. Vitus and I'm like, I don't even understand how I could be at a club that small, body to body with people in this like enclosed area and not feel kind of sick or feel weird about it, at least at this stage. What about you guys?
I would get sick every tour, just in general. Like before COVID, I would catch something from somebody in a venue somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder at what point like risk abatement gets sort of swapped out for like, oh, I just miss it, so I don't care.
That's where I'm at. I'll die for live music. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. That's just where I'm at. And to be fair, I actually do have a little bit of different feelings. I don't think it's necessarily because of the health risk, but it's like, I think of all the times, all the money I've spent, all the hours I've traveled to go see a show, my time and how I spend it has become a little bit more of a priority to me and something I've been reconfiguring. And it's like, I'm not going to go to these shows. I've seen every band that I've wanted to see millions of times already. I could skip the next, oversold St. Vitus show where I'm crammed in that little section by the bathroom and can't see or hear anything.
I think it's definitely going to be more important to pick and choose, and also just awareness, you know what I mean? And being like what you're willing to go through for whatever that is. I haven't been to a small club show in, really long time. I prefer nice big venues with a nice big old bar right there. And you know what I mean? Like, and a nice sound system and a good in-house like crew of people that are there. You know what I mean? So I feel like, you just kind of, the juice has to be worth the squeeze, I guess. And I think people are going to be more particular these days too. Maybe they won't be as, willing to go to every single show that month. Maybe it's like, oh, I'm going to go to this show and this one. I really don't want to be around that many people. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know how the mass population is going to be, but I'm interested to see what's up. I mean, seeing all these festivals and tours, like thankfully I get to watch it from my phone screen or my computer, you know what I mean? Like from afar and see how everything is and make sure everything's safe. And we're all going to be hearing about all the horror stories of what it's like out there now and this and that. And you know what I mean? And it's better to have an educated understanding of something that was so critically halting to the world. You know what I mean? And we're all world touring artists. You know what I mean? It's not, US is just one territory of the many, many other continents that have yet to see what America has seen as far as with vaccinations and all that stuff. And not that I'm all up for it. I encourage safety and health and, common sense. And I think not a lot of people, it's just not available in the rest of the world the way that it is in the US. And it's going to be important to just proceed with caution a little bit and just kind of be aware of things. And that keeps you safe, your family safe, and like all other concert goers and bands. And like Aaron said, Aaron always gets sick on tour. And it's that, I mean, we do meet and greets every day. You know what I mean? We're breathing the same air. We're breathing recycled air on a submarine with wheels.
Oh, bunk lung.
Yeah, bunk lung.
Bunk lung was a thing already.
I do not miss bunk lung. I haven't had bunk lung in a year and a half.
Yeah.
We know what it's like when you go to a concert and there's certain people and certain behaviors that are just so annoying, sometimes borderline unacceptable. What are some like concerts do's and do nots? More importantly, the do nots. Like what do you see happening at concerts that people do that you wish they would just stop doing altogether?
Showing up. Should just stay home.
Oh.
Do you guys ever get this? This is something, you'll be at a show and you'll get a metalhead, long hair, and you won't be that close, but you're close enough where you get the headbang hair in the mouth and in the eyeball. Is that my one that's happened?
No, I'm usually that guy.
I was gonna say, you're talking to Aaron.
Yeah, it sounds like you're talking about me.
Hey, you?
Yeah, I'm for sure.
Katie, I know you can relate to this one. If a woman doesn't want to talk to you at a show, don't talk to me. If I already said no or don't want to speak to you, like people get really oddly persistent at shows.
That's so weird.
It gets weirder. Like my thing is, I often have to drive to shows, especially now that I've moved out of New York and, so I'm not taking public transit and therefore I can't drink. People will still buy me drinks, random men I don't know, and then get really pissed off when I'm like, I never asked for this drink. Thank you anyway, but no. And it's like, they're so mad. It's like, You don't know. I might have a problem with alcohol. I drove here for one. Like, do you want me to drive home drunk? Like, it's so creepy. And this has happened so many times. So you know what? There you go. Don't just assume someone wants a drink. Go up to a lady, ask her, do you want a drink? And then if she says no, say, okay, thanks, and move on. Move on.
Yeah, for sure. I can get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
What about moshing etiquette? All right. Is there anything we need to map out? We need to understand. Is there new? Because I feel like maybe, because we see how people have been acting at like sporting events with a lot of fights and stands and things like that. Like, I wonder if the mosh pits are going to be extra out of control because people got all this pent up rage from being in the house.
Oh, hell yeah. I've seen those throw and go shows that have been happening. There was one hardcore fest in New York, bodies on the floor. And then there's that one that happened in LA not too long ago. Bodies, just mad mosh. But I mean, I think that mosh etiquette is if you're in the pit, you already know what's up. Like, you can't really get mad. I do, and everybody that is righteous in mosh etiquette knows no crowd killing. But like that, the fact that even has to be said still, and it's 2021, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, you're not doing anyone any favors. I just feel like it's look out for each other and know that it's kind of a war zone and you're going to get kicked and you're going to get punched and it's probably going to hurt. And you might even be throwing down, you know what I mean? Like, it could cause a fight or something like that. But I don't know. That's also part of what aggressive music brings out of people. And it's an outlet for people. The mosh pit can be a really healthy thing as long as it's treated respectfully. It's like, you can't just like assume that you're going to be safe by standing around a bunch of people that are throwing their arms in your direction. But I would definitely say, as far as that's concerned, let's just use some deodorant. You know what I mean? If we're going to be in, cutoffs, moshing hard, sweating, not really hydrating, gonna make sure that you need you to wear some deodorant. You know what I mean? Because that's just being courteous to others, looking out for your own sake, and then the hygiene thing. Because then if we're going to meet and we're going to hang out, you know what I'm saying? If it's smelling like Subway, I'm going to have a really hard time hanging. You know what I mean? Because the smell is not so good. So hygiene.
Definitely dues for the summer. Drink water. Okay.
Yep.
I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but hydrate yourself and wear comfortable shoes. All right. A lot of people, they wear into like really flat, like certain shoes, they don't provide a lot of support. If that little arch in your foot.
Yeah, that's important.
All right. Ladies, I know you're trying to be cute. All right. Don't listen. Compromise. Okay?
I've been guilty.
I'm like, literally, as he's saying this, I'm like, is Doc throwing shade at me and Zeena right
I'm not above taking my shoes off at the show, all right? I'll go sit in the corner with my shoes off.
That's definitely another rule, is shoes on stage at all times.
Yes!
On stage.
Yes!
It's so dangerous. We've been yelled at so many times by so many real hardcore stage managers, and I'll see a guitar player run up to the monitor and just gargle his dangly toes all over the freaking monitor, and I'm like, oh, and then like dude, it's like there's moving things on stage, like there's people in boots and rolling cases and stuff like that, like you're over here barefoot, like
just the toes on the monitor, dude. I know
it's
exactly.
And they're gripping. I'm like, dude,
I have enough time. Like, I have a hard enough time staying on my feet with shoes on. I couldn't imagine doing it without, to be honest. That's nightmarish.
Yeah, good shoes on stage at all times.
I would say one more thing is making sure to uplift anybody who's crowd surfing, because there's nothing more like heart-wrenching than when you see somebody fall straight to the ground. You're like, ooh.
Definitely.
It just seems unnecessary. Like, just keep an eye out, because it's part of the deal when you're in that area.
And to embellish on that, if you aren't capable of that, then don't stand in the front. Like, don't stand in crowd surfing area. Like, because there's going to be like a specific corridor. That's also too usually the same corridor where the wall of death is going to happen. Just avoid that. Like, if you can't handle the wall of death, you can't handle the crowd surfers, just like stay off to the sides and to the back and like just let the traffic flow through. There's no shame in that.
I would say my don't of the summer is don't go on stage if you're not supposed to be on stage. Not even just to get on it to jump off of it. If you don't have some sort of role there, don't go there. Don't be on stage if you're not supposed to be on stage.
By the way, can we talk about for a second? Officially, one of the worst places to watch a show now, because all the bands, no one has actual cabinets or like they're all in ears. You can't hear
stage
nothing.
Sound is. We don't have stage sound other than my drums.
That's right. We're just seeing your like the band's butts. Unless listen, maybe some bands they got really good butts, right? They're athletic. They're stretching. They're doing yoga. So maybe some of those bands. Like,
I will say my dudes have good butts. I look at them all the time because I'm sitting behind them.
Doing their squats.
I'm like, hey,
Highly reviewed.
those are some athletic dudes up there.
So I'm just saying, like me, even if I have backstage pass, whatever, I want to be. Usually, I try to go near the soundboard. That's
Soundboard, that's
I go to.
any pro tip is watch from the soundboard, because that's where the guy that's getting paid the most on tour works and has to make it sound good.
Oh, don't tell people that. Now they're all going to know the secret and they're all going to be at the soundboard now.
Yeah, and that's cool though, because we'll usually be like, hey, we're cool, we have passes. So we'll get to hang out in the barricade with him.
Yeah, well, this is a little. I think we might be being a little elitist right now. I think we're speaking to the people that have the beneficiary that are, in the position to even be backstage.
Beneficiary to be the stage potato.
That's right.
Don't be a stage
Oh,
potato.
no. I'm talking about if you buy a ticket to a show, do not go on the stage. If you're somebody's guest, by all means, I have no problem with people watching on side of stage. I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you buy a ticket, the stage is not your place. There is an invisible wall and you stay on this side of it. I actually lost half of my tooth. Tino can verify, from a crowd surfer coming up and knocking my mic into my tooth.
Oh.
And then we finished the show. And I had like kind of forgotten with the adrenaline pumping. So I take a big old gulp of like ice water and it hit and I almost blacked out. I had to put both my arms on the cabinet and just kind of like try and hold my legs up. But so just don't go on the stage.
I saw, and if you do go on the stage, what'll happen is what happened to this dude at this Post Malone show that I just saw a video of.
Elbows. We're dropping elbows.
A dude gets on stage after Post Malone smashes an acoustic guitar and he tries to get a selfie with him. How did he not think that he wasn't going to get WWE tackled by two massive security? He gets fully taken out, like completely taken out. And it's like, dude, yeah, you can't just run up on. Like, there's so many rules against that. And the fact that you were able to get up there does not warrant you like the notoriety to then, oh, I got up here, so I dodged security. You know what I mean? Like it's a dangerous place.
Security doesn't know why you're up there. They don't know that you just want a selfie video. You could be up there for any reason. And
especially what happened to that dime bag.
You don't want to be seen as a threat. You know what I mean? You just want to have fun. Maybe buy a meet and greet ticket. You know what I mean? If you want the selfie, or catch them at the Chili's after the show or something. You know what I mean? Like,
buy me some queso.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that about concludes it today. AARON Pauley, where can the people find you on social media?
Twitter.com/OMANDM. So OM and M. Twitch.tv/ofmice.
Zeena, where can everyone find you?
In hell. At Zeena Coda, 2 E's.
What about you, Doc?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Doc Coyle.
And everyone, you can find me at Merciful Kate on Twitter and Instagram, and now Twitch. Coming soon. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today on Last Words here on The Pit. If you want to hear the full unedited podcast episode with Of Mice and Men, then you can find us across any podcast streaming platform.